Moving right along. We are in Matthew 16. Beyond the Pharisees and the Sadducees demanding signs. We have moved on to the leaven. So it says here, an evil and adulterous generation, picking up from verse 4 from yesterday, seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given except the sign of Jonah. So he left them and departed. When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they began discussing it among themselves, saying, we brought no bread. But Jesus, aware of this, said, O you of little faith, why are you discussing among yourselves the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000 and how many baskets you gathered, or the 7 loaves for the 4,000 and how many baskets you gathered? What is he driving at here?
That'll take care of them.
Yeah, that the Lord provides.
Specifically, he's driving at the fact that the lack of bread is not a problem.
It also said when he was tempted, he said, man does not live on bread alone.
Correct. Specifically here, he's driving at the concept that bread's not the issue. Meaning, he's being parabolic. Since chapter 13, past chapter 12, which was the hinge chapter where he disinherited the entire nation and said, y'all all lost your birthright. When he opened the door for everyone to come in to reestablish a new nation called the Kingdom of Heaven. He said, okay, so you have little faith. Do you not remember? So he's bringing into memories the fact that they already dealt with the bread issue. So they could do the bread issue again if they needed to. Boom, they got a feast. So he's saying, look guys, the bread wasn't the point. How is it that you fail to understand that I do not speak about bread? Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Which is what he said in verse 6. Beware of the leaven. He bought no bread. Dude, I was not talking about bread. I was talking about leaven. Parable of the kingdom of God. Where he talked about the 3 measures. Where he hid the leaven in the 3 measures of flour. Leaven represents teaching. It represents something that gets into everything. Then they understood, verse 12, that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because their teaching was very sad, you see. So, our responsibility in dealing with the religious spirit, because the religious spirit is not merely the spirit of you must obey my standards or else you're unworthy. That's such a far cry from what it actually is. The religious spirit is the spirit of one thing. You choose to do everything except the one thing God told you to do. Your job is not to bring somebody to a place where the anointed person can lay hands, because that's a form of welfare Christianity. Your job is to take the tools in your hand and do. You got that one relationship, you think, oh, if I bring them here, the problem will be fixed. You might be the solution to the problem, and you're shortchanging yourself, and you're thinking they need to go elsewhere to this divine expert or the apostle or the prophet or the grand poobah or the bishop, and they'll lay hands on them and the power of God will hit them. No. The power of God hits us primarily through the application and the weaving together of principles, of tools that we already have in our hands.
And that relationship, where somebody has that relationship, will make a huge difference. That someone's going to be much more likely to receive from their friend than the grand poobah.
Yeah. And in this season, it's about intimacy and relationship. That's the currency of this season, not authority. God respects intimacy. He does not respect authority in this season. like you did in the last season. Tenderness and affection relationship. So, your friend, the anointed, whatever, so-and-so, is not going to fix the problem. You're going to be the one that fixes the problem. Your connection with them is God is going to use to weave together something in order to produce change in that person's life. Your capacity to walk with somebody and not alienate with them is going to be the landing pad that God uses to put down the airplane of his presence, or the helicopter of his presence, in a situation. So I bless each of you to realize and recognize that you are the landing pad and the hangar for what he wants to put into somebody else's life. You carry a helipad with you where he can land. But you've got to be ready and have the tools on hand and be brushed up with them and ready to begin executing when it's time to execute. It's not you taking somebody to someone else, it's about you being the someone else.
Agreed. May I add?
You sell yourself short when you do that. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, this is something the Lord's been showing me lately, and I felt very impressed to share with you. If you're with somebody who you think their walk with God is better than yours, okay? And so therefore maybe you're at the receiving end rather than the giving end. Understand that that may be true. Maybe they're more mature in the Lord, or they've been saved longer, or they have more principles that they've weaved together. That doesn't mean that you don't have a principle or you don't have a revelation on something that could bless them. Don't say, well, I'm not going to share something with them even though I have something, because they're further down the path either in reality or in perception than I am. I have found with people that I feel that way about, that I've still had something to speak into their lives because the Lord gave something to me that he hadn't given to them. And I'm still a valid part of the community, and I may receive from them, but they can also receive from me, even if what I feel like what I have to contribute maybe not be as big as what they have to contribute. But I have disqualified myself from speaking into somebody's life that I thought I saw as a leader or further down the path from me. And I said, oh, I can't speak to them. They're way further than me. And the Lord's like, yeah, you can, because this piece is something I gave you,
Yes.
not what I gave them. And they need that piece from you. And he has corrected me on that, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to bring that to you. So you know, whatever situation you're in, we'll say you guys are playing with a Tyndale. One of the Tyndales is confiding with you, and he's having a hard time with something. You may have revelation of something that could bless him, even if you may feel like he is more mature in the Lord than you. That doesn't mean you don't have voice to speak in his life.
Bingo.
So
You sell yourself short and you think it belongs to somebody else, and it doesn't. The Lord's trying to hand it to you, and you keep denying him the opportunity to work through you. As a result, you end up denying yourself a blessing. You rob yourself.
and likely the person he's asking you to give that to, because they would be blessed by what you have to offer.
See, here's the thing. We are not raising the three of you as adults to depend on everyone else. We're raising you to walk this thing out and to own some stuff. You take on some ownership of some stuff around here. That will be the landing pad and the stepping stone to greater things. At the end of it, the two of us have each other. You three got your own families. Just because I am a major leader in this family does not mean that you three will not have substantial families of your own. The three of you each have responsibilities. And you can sideline your responsibilities by assuming that you do not have X, Y, or Z responsibility. And that somebody else is better equipped. You are the someone else. If you know what you're lacking, then you ask him for it. He gives it to you. You have new tools. You know how to use it. And you begin the process of using it. You know, he didn't call somebody who's got a 30-year expert with this tool to do it. He called you. Get in the game, do it, fail a few times, get some coaching from him, let him mentor you, because you're in the process of being an apprentice. And, you know, you've got to learn how to walk in the armor before you can use it. And the only way you can do that is by starting to try it out. Oh, I can't, I'm not ready. Malarkey. You are ready. Go and do.
Yeah, look at it this way. The enemy doesn't look at you and go, oh, they're only 12 or 13. I'm not going to bother them until they're 18. No. He has already assaulted each one of you many times. And I hope you know that by now.
They're not going to exercise restraint just because you're children. And you wonder why that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Hello.
What movie?
The Incredibles. They're not going to
Gotcha.
exercise
Yep.
restraint just because you're kids.
Right. Yep. Yes, would you please sit still? Thank you.
So, guys, each of you be blessed. Y'all online, be blessed. We love y'all very much. We want the best for each of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.